My name is Nicola Treat, and I graduated at UBCO this year. I was studying visual arts to receive my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and I majored in sculpture. Here at the Lake Country Art Gallery, located in Lake Country, British Columbia, we have on display the At Cloakham exhibition, which is filled with 4 different artists who are all from the Syilx Nation. All of the artists in the exhibition are from the Okanagan area. At Cloakham exhibition, we have 4 different Syilx artists on display. Marielle Belanger, Barb Marchand, Sheldon Louie, and David Wilson are all here in Lake Country exhibiting their work. The At Cloakham exhibition runs from August 16th till September 29th.
My name is Barbara Pearl Marchand. I'm from Winfield, just down the road here from Vernon. And I lived down there for a few years and grew up down there. A lot of my artwork in the gallery right now is, there are pieces that I've saved over the years, and some of them are pretty old. Like the hat selection, I started those 20 years ago. I made the first 2 man and woman hat, and then over the years I made some more. I started making art down in Winfield, and I was just a little girl and drawing in the dirt. You know, we didn't really have toys, so we made our own excitement, and it was always on the land. Everybody was hunting or fishing or hiking. I tried to find tools in nature that work, and sometimes I'd have an argument with a person that came into my studio and oh yeah, the rocks are just dead. And I said, no, they're not, they're alive. And they really got upset because I said they were alive. I said, do you know how many times a rock changes? You don't call that alive? Like everything on this earth is alive and they're changing. I'd have to explain a little bit about where does my thoughts come from. And then I go back to my childhood, and when I was small, I was always looking at the land, and I'll always be that way. I always will.
White Haskell Hall in Chayiskus Sanson, Kintil Inkamuplex with Insis Ulaut. My name is Marielle Belanger. I'm from here at Head of the Lake and Insis Ulaut, which is Dry Creek. I'm a professional interdisciplinary performance artist. I have a very broad interdisciplinary practice. I cycle through different practices. Lately I've been working with tule reeds and cattails and creating recycled paper. I've also been working with traditional uses for tules and cattails. So nature is the material. And so I have to be aware of what it is that I'm working with. And I have to know the material because I need to know how it operates and how it works when it's in the natural environment, and as well when we process it to create material, because they're 2 totally different substances. I go out into the tule forest and I am a select logger in that tule forest, right? And so I'm learning how to manage its land management practices. The tule house, it's meant to look like a bark isolation lodge. So in my practice, I'm researching what it means to be a Syilx woman, specifically a woman of this land, a plateau woman. And what are our customs? What are the things that we're supposed to be knowing by now? What should I've already learned? When should I've learned these things? And being an artist of the land, I started to interpret what waste nothing means. What does it mean when we go out and we harvest all this material and we're supposed to use it all? So it's a process where I'm learning about how to use everything in a very good way. And then hopefully people will reflect on that and say, oh, well, how can we do that in our everydays too?
There are uxos here on OKIB in numerous parts on the reserve, a couple. Even off reserve around the Vernon area, there's uxos, which is an acronym for unexploded ordnances that have been left behind by past military training areas. The first time I've heard about them was from my other half, and we were talking about this side here. There's not an urgency to get rid of them or, make this area safe.
My name is Don Lewis. I'm from the Okanagan Indian Band and lived here all my life. Currently right now I am a liaison for the Department of National Defense in the Okanagan Indian Band, and I work with unexploded explosive ordnance. Munitions left in the ground that did not detonate when the military used our ranges, the Goose Lake Range and the Madeline Lake Range to the north. They did some surface clearance, but they did not get all the munitions that still lay underground. So currently our program is to remove all the munitions that are left behind by the military. I know it's a long process, it's a manual process, but I wish we could have more funding to remove the unexploded ordnance quicker. If we had more money put towards the removal of the UXOs, it would go a lot quicker to free up the land. About World War I is when it started, up to say 1980 is when they finished using the ranges. We put up signage in the area. We do general awareness. We do the interior provincial exhibition. We have a booth set up there. We have people in from Ottawa that come in, and I come out and we inform the general public that, hey, there's munitions in these areas. Wherever there's UXOs, there's always a risk and a danger.
Language is the foundation of a culture. A language holds the stories, songs, dances, protocols, family histories, and connections. When a language dies, so does the link to the cultural and historical past. Without that crucial connection to their linguistic and cultural history, people lose their sense of identity and belonging. Tullua tawago, dakam achumachn lago, chael we haidem, excandesh na ea exozogt, tullago, tullawistashkom, dakam achumachn ea, we haidem excandesh, chael na ea dixilgt, dakam halmoimoig, dakam hasha ab, dakam hashialakin at hamushalakin that's bizbizu. We haidam chael, exozogt na ea dixilgt, da halau, da siwi, da squenchtish hawa al, da skauishtish dakam hashquanocht, da skauishtish dakam dakisht, we chael haidam, kandesh ashtakamkt, exozogt na ea dictimukt, Homer. Some suggestions for supporting Indigenous languages. Learn the traditional name of where you live. Learn a greeting in the traditional language of where you live. Challenge family members and colleagues to learn some phrases in the traditional language of where you live or work. Learn an Indigenous language. Efforts to preserve and revitalize Indigenous languages is a race against time as fluent speakers pass on, but there are actions and developments underway to preserve and revitalize some Indigenous languages. Henthla, Nshquest William Sandy, Nhlakatmukin, Wikt Quinchut.
Henthla. In Squesht, Lena Nicholson, Tusa Cookspalikin, Wikt Quainchut, Intlakapmchin, Homas.
Hantla and Squest, Joyce Dick, Wikt Quainchut, Hantla and Squest, Sandra Tom, Image, Hatchunash Beckham, Zaldilla, Uslua, Wikt Quainchut.
Hentla, Chesley and Squest. Hetla, it's Squest, Joad Trotsky.
Hentlach, in Squest, Gina Basil.
Hantla, in Squest, Andrea Shinto Sterling. Wiekt, Gwynjut.
Yeah, so basically you want me to go interview some pot-smoking crazy lady who doped up her kid. Yeah, I'll do it, but next time I want a real story. It's gonna be a freaking waste of time. Oh, there she is. Let's get that shit show over with.
Hi, you must be Frank.
us?
I was thinking right here.
Okay.
So where would you like me?
Well, the studio would be nice. Let's work with what we got. So what is your name and why are you here?
My name is Mary Jane Smith, and I'm here to tell our story and hopefully provide hope for other families that have been in or will be in the same situation as we have been. Our daughter at 2 years old had her first seizure. She was taken to the hospital by ambulance, and it lasted over 3 hours. They couldn't stop it. I remember the paramedics and everyone panicking because this little child was having a seizure, and I had no idea what was going on. I'd never seen one before. And that started our journey. The first medication that she was put on was Dilantin, which I have to say is a miracle drug for some kids and for some people. But for her, she got a rash and couldn't use it. We 15 medications we went through, trial and error. Either the side effects were too much for her little body, or there was absolutely no help. We also tried the ketogenic diet as prescribed by the neurologist and manned by the dietitian. Everything was weighed, measured. It was a diet that does also help a lot of people, but it helped a little bit, but not enough. And it was hard. It was hard on her and the family. So finally, after, 11 years of trying everything, pulled her off everything, and in the meantime, there was a lot more information out there on cannabis, and after a lot of research, we got our hands on some and started her on it.
So you roll a joint and let your kid smoke it?
No, we don't. It's an oil. It's taken from a whole plant, cannabis plant, that was designed specifically for kids with seizures. And they make a really concentrated oil. We started at a very low dose and increased it slowly, but we saw improvements right away. She was speaking more, her thoughts were more, she wasn't as shaky. And so we continued on that to get to the right dose and get control. It took a long time, but it was our miracle.
So the CBD oil, is it easy to get?
No. When we first started it, I could order it from the States, and that's why we did. It was, its name was Charlotte's Web, is Charlotte's Web, and we could order it across. But about a year later, they stopped it at the border. With the pending legalization, they were just being a lot stricter. Even though it's just a CBD oil, it is still illegal. So it was a process, but there's a lot of advocates out there that really pushed the ball for us. And we got an exemption from Health Canada that allows us to bring it over. The hard thing is, the reason it's difficult even to get a medical for Canadian sources is because doctors and neurologists, they don't know enough. They don't know enough to help to prescribe it, and they don't feel confident in doing so. We were at the Riot Act because I did tell all the doctors that we were on it, by a few, but they're starting to see how it can help, even though they don't have a lot of information. So it's a real learning process. And Health Canada, what they did was they made it so the doctors didn't have to go out on a limb, but we had to have a letter from our doctor stating that they knew that our child was on the oil and that they would continue to see them. So it kind of let them off the hook and allowed us to continue to give her this medicine that works for her.
So, how's your daughter doing now?
She's seizure-free, finally. Took 3 years on CBD oil for full seizure control. But now she has a great quality of life, and I'm excited for her future, for her.
Well, Mary, thanks for the interview. I had no idea.
Well, thanks for hearing my story.
I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you.
Frank here.
Is this Frank Jones?
Yeah.
I'm calling from Central General Hospital. We need you to come here. Your son David had a seizure and has been admitted.